Hello. It's cold in here, so I have my heater on. It is, I think it was 47 degrees Fahrenheit, which I want to say that's like 8 degrees Celsius or something like that. Hey, no, I don't have enough internet in here to ask my phone. Okay. Let's see what you're up to this past week. I deleted it. Got 13 tracks, so somebody should submit one more so that we don't have 13 because that's not a good number to have. My normal slouching position. Here we go. Let's listen to this one called Bad Mix I Know Xyloid. All right. Let me just make sure I'm not giving you any help here with the master bus. Go away. Okay, let's have a listen. I forgot to turn the anyway, here we go. I probably would have something come in right around this. I know that it kind of goes to a different chord, but like a little or something. It just is dragging too much with just chords being played at regular intervals. I do really like the chords that come in. It gives it kind of like new context. I liked those new chords. More about new element every 8 bars. I mean, I don't think that you should necessarily try to break it down to an exact formula. It's just if all we're getting is a single kind of synth that's just playing chords at a regular interval, that's only going to hold our attention for so long. And when we get to the end of a phrase, maybe it's time to introduce something, atmospheric thing, a percussive, a light shaker, something rhythmic, a pad, just something new, or else we just feel like we're kind of listening to the same chords being played on the same synth in the same way again. And that's when our attention starts to dwindle. Thank you for the stash, love. Okay, let's listen to the beat part. Okay, so I was gonna say we need a melody. Where's the melody? It's coming in here, but I feel like the structure of this, there's some really nice things happening, and I really do like the chord progression. It's more complex than I thought it was going to be. That's really cool, and I like where this lead is starting to go, but you might have already lost people by this point by not giving them the main character soon enough. So like you could probably bring that lead in the intro. You could, I mean, why not bring that lead in? And then if you want, maybe take it out during the beat, but maybe bring it in some filtered way, down an octave, some reduced way to introduce it, and then let it shine during the beat so that we get like the beat with the melody. But anyway, let's listen to the melody. Oh, sorry. I thought that was engaged, but it's yeah. I thought this was on the master, but it is not. The master sounds like compressed. It almost sounds like the bass is hitting some sort of limiter in the master bus, but like the waveform doesn't necessarily look that crammed. Because if we listen to just the high frequency stuff, like up here, you can kind of hear it cutting in and out, like, which is a telltale sign of a compressor being kind of abused. We can hear the compressor compressing. I think the melody started off strong, and then it kind of just lingered and kind of just noodled around a little bit. I didn't really detect any repeating themes or any sort of motifs that were maybe repeated and then a little twist on it every once in a while, but there's kind of a solid theme that's being referenced. It kind of just sounds like you're noodling around in the key of the song. I kind of hear, let me see. I probably shouldn't try to, but I will. Where's the channel rack? I'm clicking. Is it under this? Yes, it was. Okay. That to me, the start of your melody sounds pretty good. Like it starts off good. How long did it take you to learn all this stuff before making your first track? That's not how it works. I mean, like, I made my first track, and that's how I learned. And then I made my second track, and that's how I learned. And then I made my 5,000th track, probably not quite that many, but hundreds of tracks, and I'm still learning. Every time I sit down and make some music, I still learn, and that's always how it's going to go. I mean, you never reach a point where you're like, I now know how to make music. That never would ever happen for anybody. It's a moving target. You're like, oh, I think I have a fairly good grasp on compression now. Or, oh, I found this trick of when I go from this chord to the other chord and I put this note in between, it resolves that into this, and that adds to your like toolkit of things. But then that just makes you realize that there's more problems to solve. Like you're never going to get to a point where you're just like, I know how to make music. Because I don't think I'm that good. I don't think anybody really thinks they're that good. I think that's kind of like a creative person thing. Okay, let's do. My keyboard isn't working. I have like an idea based on your melody, the way it starts. But for some reason, this synth, for some reason, my keyboard isn't keyboarding. Seriously? Inputs. Wait, enable port 2. Why was I on port 2? Oh, wait, was that the output? That's probably what it was. No, that's input. Can I turn this in? Can I turn this on? Huh. Well, I guess my keyboard isn't working. Anyway, I think that you had had a good start. So like that kind of length, that you should have some sort of phrase that you could reference. It doesn't have to always be the exact same phrase, but maybe just the end part work. I really want to try it because I have this in my head. I'm going to do it. Let's see what the tempo is. I'll just do it in the MIDI roll without the keyboard. How about that? Man, classic 120 beats per minute. Nice. All right. Let's put in a MIDI clip real quick. And then I'll try to... Okay, so we'll start it here. And then I'll grab one of these random synths that I've made over... Really wish my keyboard worked, but that's fine. So... Okay, D. I'm going to turn it down a bit because it's loud. Okay, so I'm going to recreate what you got here. Okay. Doo-doo. Okay, and now, so this is basically, I stole this from your melody, but now I'm going to try to make this into a melody that can be repeated a bit more repetitiously. Okay, I think this is what I'm after, so let's... So... Oh, I think I... Okay. And then walk it back up. We're landing on D, so... Maybe A... Ah! Okay, so now this is kind of a chunk. This is a melodic phrase, which we can now expand upon. So now let's just straight up repeat it, but we're going to change it a little bit. So... Oh, I got to expand my MIDI clip. And then we're going to play it over top of the intro because that way we don't have to worry about it clashing with the melody that's already there. I'm so used to not using one screen. Okay, so let's start it here maybe. See, now I'm like, that might not be the best place to land. And now we're going to go to a different chord, but let's see what happens if we just straight up repeat it. Okay, so now maybe it doesn't make sense to go down to the A. Oh. So you kind of get my point, I hope, is that now there's a shape, I can visually look at these notes and be like, oh, that is a thing that repeats. There's a theme. It goes long and then it walks down long, does a little diddly-do down, then walks back up. Like there's a pattern here that we can attach ourselves to. And yeah, I'm not saying that this is a great melody. I'm just saying that this is a more structured melody than noodling around in the key and somewhat picking it. I'm not saying this is what happened, but sometimes I find that people submit things with melodies that none of the notes sound wrong, but the way that the timing and the pattern is all just somewhat random, and it seems kind of haphazard. Any chance of a little more nursing home? That is a very challenging question for me to answer. Anyway, that's what I would focus on. There's some other things, you know, like it feels overcompressed and stuff like that. But I think that the big thing you should try to work on is how to get a melody that feels more like a intentional structured melody, and then get it earlier on in the song, because that's this whatever this ends up being is probably going to be the thing that people remember about the song. This is going to be the song, the melody, because it's the melody. Okay, let's listen to the end. Now, sometimes it's okay, and yeah, I mean, I'd love to do a game night at some point. Again, it's sometimes it's okay to riff and noodle. You know, that's kind of like what a guitar solo is. But if you want a melody in your song, it shouldn't just kind of be running around making sure to hit all the notes in the key. Okay, go and try that. Let's move on. This one's called Botanica. X Lo-Fi. Botanica is a fun word to say. Botanica. Okay, that was cool. It's definitely like a song to take your vitamins to. I think Dark Forge, the guitar feels way too MIDI. I think what would be cool is if you don't have a guitar, or you don't know how to play guitar, or you don't have a microphone, but you know somebody who has a guitar and knows how to play guitar and has a microphone, get them to play a nice little riff in the same key and chop that up instead. I like the idea. I like the concept of this is very cool and very refreshing. It's like a mimosa. It's citrusy and sparkly and optimistic, and it's nice, and I like that. But I do think that although the MIDI guitar is working to demo it out and be a proof of concept, imagine how much better it would be if you had fingers scraping up to go to the next chord and little imperfections and stuff to make it really believable as a guitar. I think that would probably be sick. The other thing is, imagine this with the bass line, like not necessarily a funky bass line, although a funky bass line may be good, but just some bass in general. I feel like that's definitely what it's missing. What's 100 beats? Let's just try. Is this one set up as a bass? Let's see. Oh my god, it is. Okay, let's see what it would be like with just like a sustained sub bass playing to give us kind of harmonic context. There's so much melodic stuff happening in a certain key, but I can't quite tell what chord I'm listening to at any point because there kind of is no chord. So just adding a sub bass would recontextualize it in a good way. Let's see. Let's figure out what key it is first. Sounds like, okay, so it's G sharp. Let's do it. When I write bass line, sometimes it's better to play it up high so you can get the notes right and then put it back down. It's G sharp major. Okay, there we go. So let's now put it back down. Like even that, just a sine wave, not even loud enough. It all of a sudden has way more meaning. It has more, I understand the harmonics of it a lot better because I have an anchor point or a reference point. So I think my 2 notes on this, 3 notes. First is that, thank you, that was a refreshing glass of orange juice with sparkling champagne or whatever mixed in with it. The second note is that I think that you should put a bass line in the drop that plays the chords that were in your head. And the third thing is, I think you should probably chop up a real recording of a real guitar that a real person played. And I guess you could probably argue that that probably is at some point started as a real recording of a real guitar that a real person played. But you know what I mean. It's always better if you can record real life and use it in your song instead of recording a recording of a record of somebody who did something at some point and put it into a contact patch. Okay, that's what I think. I hope that made sense. Okay, this one's Aiden Dodge and P4K Capo. Wow, P4K Capo. P4K Capo. It's kind of fun to say. Places to be.
Bitch, I got place to be. I'ma hit stacking the cheese, yeah. I'ma hit getting the squad. Freestyle off the top, damn, that make it drop. From the top, she love it when I play it. On my pops, yeah. We been gone and we been flown. Every day stacking this motion. Niggas used to count me out.
Okay, so when it drops with his vocal.
Yeah, bitch, I got place to be. I'ma hit stacking the cheese, yeah. I'ma hit getting this.
There's a lot going on. I would probably, excuse me, I'd probably pull it back. Like you got that kind of cool, formanty, glitchy vocal thing. Yep. That thing, that's cool. But maybe pull it out while he starts delivering the first sets of lines. And then that also gives you something to bring back in.
Yeah, bitch, I got place to be. I'ma hit stacking the cheese, yeah. I'ma hit getting the squad. Freestyle off the top, damn, that make it drop. From the top, she love it when I play it. On my pop.
Because there's delay and echo and reverb and ad libs and like there's just a lot of stuff happening. So I think if you could peel it back and be more confident in the things that you leave in the mix, that's the real confident move. Let's keep going.
But baby, I'm not here for that. I'm just here to pop my shit and I just count it up, 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 count it up. We part of the new era of music. Too much mainstream stuff pressured by hubris. It's a stench that's gotten pretty putrid. Don't make me nauseous cause my flow's already too sick. We've been on the ground for quite some time now. We won't stop when this close to our prime. Now they tell us keep on going as if that wasn't the plan. How we keep up with the motion, dropping bangers like goddamn. Bitch, I got places to be. Bitch, I got places to be. Bitch, I got places to be.
What's with the instrumental being that low bit rate? That could be a problem.
Coming closer, I just need to keep all my composure. Bitch, I got places to be. I move so fast at times appearing slower. So keep it going till my final closure. Bitch, I got places to be. Yeah, bitch, I got a place to be. Dash ain't 193 in that Lambo, I go speed. Yeah, I'm chasing my dreams. They scream capo when they see me hit the streets. Bitch, I got places to be on my vibe, but they never had a place to stand up. Tryna aim to fly, but they never had a rap of ammo. Bitch, I got places.
Did you make the instrumental or did he?
When will they realize they can't harm me with the planos? Just keep it silent, your voice is nothing but an echo. Bitch, I got places to be.
Yeah, I know it's an MP3. What I'm trying to get at is this just a beat that's been bought, or is this something you guys made? Because if it's a beat that's been bought, I'm not going to fucking waste my time giving you feedback on a beat that's bought. I would waste my time giving you feedback on a beat that's made, but if it's just like I downloaded this beat to put my song on, like I'm not going to give you feedback on that. Okay, so you made the track, you rendered it as an MP3, and then put your own vocals on it as not an MP. I'm a little lost. I'm confused. Bitch, I got places to be. Bitch, I got places to be. So why are you using an MP3 then if you produced it? Like why? I'm confused as to, because you sent in. Okay, well the whole track is an MP3, but the track is a 320. But if we go back to this little instrumental part, it's very clearly not a 320. It's a 192. Anyway, I think the track is cool. I think that my only real notes are, besides the lossy, the bitrate also has places to be. That's funny. I'm just confused as to why there's two different qualities. I rendered the song as an MP3, and then you loaded it back into a DAW to put your vocals on, because your vocals. Bitch, I got places to be. I mean, look at the. Bitch, I got places to be. You pitched the song down to change the key because you got places to be. I mean, like, if you're gonna do like a slowed and whatever reverbed, or if you're gonna slow it down or pitch it down, or if you just needed to change the key to sing differently on it or something, there's probably better ways of doing it. Because do you really want to put out a song that's missing from 16 kilohertz and up during the instrumental part? Like, at least render it out as a very high bitrate, very high bitrate wave, and then pitch that down. The sample. Bitch, I got places to be. The flute sample. Oh, all right. Well, I don't fully understand the workflow on this one, but so you're saying it's just the part in this breakdown. Bitch, I got places to be. So wait, that vocal thing is a flute? Yeah, bitch, I got places to be. That's pretty cool. Yeah, okay. Well, if it's just like if you just like for the breakdown here, you wanted to do like a dirty octave down thing, whatever. I just wanted to make sure that this wasn't like the guy said he produced something, and I don't know the guy or whatever. There's no shade towards him, but I just want to make sure that it wasn't like a bought-in beat being passed off as not a bought-in beat. Thanks, Fred. I appreciate the mustache love. Yeah, I mean, it sounds pretty good, dude. The only real thing is I try to simplify the start when he comes in. I know that you said he mixed his own vocals, and I think you said he put like a bunch of like effects and stuff on it. You could ask him to send it to you without the effects, and then try to the Manscaped sponsorship would be a totally different thing, wouldn't it? You could ask him to send it to you without the effects on it, and then you could redo the effects, or you could ask him to send the effects as separate. But you also might just be able to. I'm getting the squad, freestyle off the top, damn, that make it drop from the top. She love it when I play it. So from what I can tell, there's his vocal with all the spatial time-based effects happening, making it a bit messy. And then there's the flute and the vocal sample. And then the 808 and the drums. So you could pull out like maybe the vocal and the flute thing and just have it kind of maybe stripped back for the first part of the section here. I don't know. I'd probably try to ask him, just because I like his performance. It sounds great. I just think that it's a little overdone on like the effects. It's too effecty, and it's just creating a bit of a mix issue, because there's like so much stuff happening when it should just be more about like the groove and what he's saying and how he's saying it. Right now, it kind of seems over affected. So besides that, I don't even know if I have any other real. The Jersey switch up was cool. I like that. I like the yep, blah, 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 yep, yep. I like that thing. It's cool. Yeah, it's a cool track. I would just try to clean up his vocal. And it's cool because I'm assuming, yeah, I mean, like, you're almost always best off to only add stuff as needed. And right now it sounds like there's just a lot of stuff that's not needed. There's a lot of really cool things. Like this flute thing is really cool. And the fact that, I'm assuming because you play flute, it's you playing flute, that makes it even sicker, because nobody else is going to go on Splice and grab that flute sample and fucking put it in their song. Now, they might go on Splice and grab that vocal sample and put that in their song, but to me, the vocal sample and the flute sample work together to create something new that is yours and is unique. So that's very cool, and I like that. Yeah, I think my only real advice is to try to clean up his vocal, and it's okay to have some effects and stuff and to have delay and reverb and shit, but it should be as a secondary layer. Right now, it kind of feels like it's fighting for first place. Like it's like his effects and his vocal are fighting each other for my attention, and it's hard to kind of understand what he's saying at all points. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's what I think. This one is called The Fox on Stilts. That sounds like some sort of like British pub. Okay, here we go. It's called Untitled. Okay, musically, I love this. It's very Anamanaguchi. But production-wise, we got some issues. First of all, the drums sound like it's solely transient. All I'm hearing is like I'm just hearing the. So what I would probably do, and it does kind of, I agree with Fred that it sounds like it was an actual drum kit recorded, but potentially not recorded properly, or maybe not mixed properly. But what I would do is I would forget about the whole song for a second. And I know that sounds harsh, but you'll see where I'm going with this. Get rid of everything except the drums. Put the drums into a bus and try to, okay, why does the graph show low end when it's not audible enough? What do you mean? Like, which graph are you talking? I've seen you say that twice, so I want to understand what you're saying. Are you talking about the wave candy, or are you talking about the frequency analyzer? Anyway, I don't have the answers for you. It's showing whatever's coming out of my speakers. So I would take it up with the people who create the software. So I would take your drums. To me, they sound, well, first of all, your hi-hat is too loud, because your hi-hat is what is limiting your master bus, from what I can tell. Like these right here going right to 0, those are hi-hat transients, and that's too loud for a hi-hat. Now, there's not much low end in in the track, in the drums, or anything, but I would try to get the drum sounding right before you do anything else, because that's really what's going to limit this track. The 8-bit kind of chiptune style synth, pretty hard to go wrong with that. It's a PWM square wave thing, and it's playing awesome stuff. Again, musically, I love this. It sounds amazing. But get the drum sounding right. They need more bottom end. The hi-hats need to go down. You need to, I almost feel like it's maybe like you've got like an aggressive compressor with like a 50 millisecond attack on it, and all we're hearing is that. Now, the next thing is the bass. The bass is very, I want to say it's not loud enough, but I think it might be loud enough. It's just the weird side chaining that's happening. The ma 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 ma. It's pumping as though there's a 4 to the floor beat happening, but there isn't a 4 to the floor beat happening. So we just kind of have like kick drum sometimes no bass at all. Sometimes the bass is coming up. The 4 to the floor side chaining doesn't really make sense for this song, I don't think. So I would probably not sidechain the bass. I would have the bass being more sustained. And if you want to sidechain the bass, make your kick drum loud enough that you can sidechain it to the kick drum only when the kick drum happens. But right now the kick drum isn't loud enough to really justify a sidechain at all, because there's really no bottom end to the kick drum. It doesn't justify a sidechain. So I would probably maybe have the bass kind of da na 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 na, and then have a kick drum. The pattern is okay, but have the kick drum provide enough oomph, and then sidechain the bass to the kick drum. Yes, we were reviewing people's music. That's exactly what we were doing. Oh, maybe it wasn't being sidechained. Maybe it was only being played on the upbeats. No, I think it was also, I don't know, it's kind of weird. Maybe it has a long attack time on the bass or something. I'm not sure. But whatever it is, the bottom end of this track just doesn't really make any sense. Oh yeah, this is definitely like a recorded acoustic drum kit. Is it just beats or certain genre? No, it's whatever. If you want to send in spoken word poetry, as long as it's not like 14 minutes long, I'll tell you how your voice sounds. Maybe what I would do is I would take your recorded drums, I'd put them into a bus, and I would limit how peaky they can be. So maybe use like a clip or something, and either soft clip or hard clip. Do some sort of clipping to limit how peaky it is, and then layer it with samples that provide more power. So if we let's see what the tempo is on this. Where's the start? Okay. It better be good. Okay. Oh, let's do this. 137? Okay. That's an interesting tempo. All right, I'm just going to do exactly what I suggested you do. Besides, obviously I can't separate your drums out. Let's just throw like, I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of like a kick drum that's kind of acoustic. Maybe fuck that. Maybe we just put whatever. This is pretty girthy, probably too girthy, but we'll just make it a little less girthy. And then, you know what else I'll do? I'll send your track to a track, and then I will high pass it. I'll get rid of all of your bass altogether. Okay, now let's get a snare drum. I don't know. Where am I? Is any of this real? Do any of you exist? You know what? We're just gonna go with the classic. We're gonna go to Baby Makin'. Even though it's not right at all. Okay, now I'm gonna replace your bass with a sine wave, because why not? Da-na-na-na. Let's see what notes you're playing. Make a new pattern, because why not? And maybe I start this at like, let's start it at like, yeah, I mean, whoops. I think Fred made a good point. I high passed the track and it didn't change drastically. So that tells us exactly what needs to be addressed, and it's the bottom end. Okay, whatever. Let's just pick here. We're going to say this is the start. This is the start of Us. Isn't that a movie? And then I'll go to my big fancy bass. Okay, so we got an A to begin with. And then we go down to what, D? E. Okay, now we'll put it down into the bass area. Okay. The snare drum is really not right, by the way, but... I mean, why not? Why don't we just... Sure. Why not? We'll just do this. Let's see what it's like 4 to the floor. Okay, that's on channel, what, 6? So we'll go to channel 6 and do a little bit of this. Oops. Okay. Let's see what it sounds like if it's just 4 to the floor. I think it's going to work well, but we'll find out. And maybe we re-ingurginate the kick. And then, and you know what else? We're going to also, we'll let it last. Close your eyes and hold down arrow in the sample browser. I don't know, was I supposed to achieve ego death or something? I'm not sure what was supposed to happen. Okay, and then we're also going to sidechain your track with the same envelope. So we'll link that to the holy. Okay. All right. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. It's not sounding great, but it is sounding more full spectrum. We've got bass and we've got a thumpy kick. Like, I feel like that's what was missing. The top end was all good besides the drums being a bit like snappy and lacking body, but the bottom end was the real issue. Now, if I take this and let's see, let's change. I just want to make the bass a little less pure. Oh, those are both turned down. Okay, let's try that now. No, you know what? Let's try it without any low pass. And that snare is bad. Sorry, Baby Maker. Like that to me, that's getting there. That's starting to sound more like probably what you're after. And maybe it sounds terrible to you, but to me, this sounds much better. Let's just do a quick comparison. We're going to take this exact same section. We'll listen to a little bit of it. I'm going to send this to a new track. Okay. So, okay. Here's with the Fowler additions. Okay. And now this one is just straight as you had it. As it happens. We're gonna set them both to, yeah. Okay, here we go. This almost feels like now it's like a little dropout section that's going to build back up to something that has a bit more power like. So that's what I think. I think it's missing bottom end, and I think your drums are cool that they're like probably homemade, like recorded, but I think you're going to have to engirthen them somehow. Okay, that's what I think. Great job. I actually genuinely enjoy this song. I just wish that the mix was, I guess I didn't listen to the whole thing. Let's listen to the rest of it. This honestly, this is a fucking great song. It's seriously a great song. It needs the bottom end sorted out and the drums sorted out. Boom, you're done. Go do it. All right, let's check out this one. This one's called Sunland Boulevard. And yes, I grabbed everything. Oh wait, I didn't. I gotta grab the distracted D minor 140 beat per minute at symbol 1 tasco.mp3. I got it. Okay, here we go. This one's called Sunland Boulevard. Okay, these chords, if they are meant to inspire dread, then you have succeeded. The chords they're a little too complex, I think, for where you're at right now. Okay, and then that lead's not in the right key. So what I would do if I were you is I would simplify, like brutally simplify. Go on, find the most cheesy 4-chord, what's the word? 4-chord chord progression, I guess. Just go rip off like Katy Perry's chord progression. Figure out what notes are in that, right? And just, you got to start, I think you got to start there. Because these chords are they're just dissonant. There's like, I can't say wrong notes, because again, if you were trying to like, if this was like a scene in a horror movie and you wanted to make people feel uneasy, then that's going to work. Katy Perry definitely isn't litigious. Yeah, but come on, Rayham. I'm not saying. And besides, it's a chord. It's a chord progression. What are you going to do? Sue me because I use a chord progression that 1,800 other people have used? I'm not saying steal their melody. I'm saying steal the chords, because to me it sounds like this person is at the beginning of their journey and these are too complicated. There's too many notes. That lead is playing a note that I don't know if there could have been a worse note. And I'm really not, I don't want to make you feel bad. I'm not trying to be harsh, because we all got to start somewhere. But that might be the worst note that you possibly could have played in that moment. Which is why I'm suggesting you go and you start at the beginning. Here's a C major chord progression, or maybe, because I think that you're probably more into the angrier sounding chords. So do like a D minor or something, and just be super basic chord progression, super basic melody, and build on that. You gotta start simple. I mean, I'm certainly not trying to destroy anybody. I'm trying to encourage them to take a step back from the complexity of these chords. Let's keep going. Not how the news will word it. I like this part. I like this bass line a lot better. There's still a few iffy moments, a little touch and go at times, but it's a lot better. Are you a producer? Yes, I have been making electronic music since 2004, so over 20 years. I am going to be 38 this year. I wrote music for television as a full-time career since 2012-ish. I currently don't really make a whole lot of movies, music. That's a Freudian slip, right, Rayham? See, here's the thing. You can still get this creepy vibe that you're after, but if you restrict yourself a little bit to a specific scale, then I think that that's going to go a long ways for you, because there's just some notes that don't fit into they don't fit into the scale. And that's not to say you can't use notes outside of the scale. Just look at jazz. But when you're starting out, it's best to be like, hey, let's learn a scale. The easiest one is C major, because it's just all the white keys. So you can just kind of play all the white keys. And as long as you're not playing them all together, they usually work out quite well. Yeah, that's going to be my, my pretty much my only advice for you right now is to strip it back to the basics. Learn some music theory, just start with a single scale. Do a, I don't know, D minor, something. Learn the notes that are in a D minor scale. Then learn a chord progression that works in the D minor scale. Then play those chords in the D minor scale while experimenting using only the notes that fall in the D minor scale. That once you figure that out, then learn a different scale, and then you can go from there. Yeah, it's FWLR if you look me up on Spotify. Okay, that's what I got. Keep going. Again, not trying to be discouraging. I think that you've got some interesting ideas. I think that you got to just sit down and watch a lot of YouTube. I think somebody said Andrew Huang or whatever his name is. I think that's probably a good person to watch some videos on. But yeah, music theory in general, I think is the way to go. Okay, this one's Sparky. Sorry, Raham. Nobody else.
There's nobody else but you, darling. It's just us. Tell me what you need to say. Am I worth the wait? Do you wanna stay? Help me, I've fallen off the way. I don't know how to save myself. I'll never need nobody else but you.
Okay, before we go, the only thing that the only thing that's sticking out to me is like the clap and or snare. It kind of sounds like a rim shot. I feel like it should be more of a disco, like one of those like a disco-y kind of clap that's not a single transient. It's kind of got a smattering of transients that crunch around the snare time-wise, as opposed to just like a single kind of. It's like, it sounds to me like a rim shot. I don't think it is. I think it's a clap.
Help me, I've fallen off the way. I don't know how.
Yeah, I think that's what I would change so far is the clap. I don't know. I think you might just spattering of transients, not a sputtering. Oh, maybe sputtering would work too. Splattering, a splattering of transients surrounding the kick in the time domain. Okay, let's listen to the next part. Dude, that vocal thing is sick. I think you should start the song with that vocal thing. Yeah, you should put it right off the top. Put that right off the top and then get into the track.
There's nobody else but you.
I think that's a good idea. This string part isn't blowing my mind. I think I probably wouldn't be upset if we went back to the verse at that point. I mean, you can do like a double chorus later on, but I feel like the chorus is the... What tempo do we think this is? Does it start on a kick drum? Get me... There we go. 119, really? 119. Nice, the magic number. Okay, so now let's go back here. That was me. I fucked that one up. Okay, there we go.
Tell me if I'm on your mind. You always run through mine.
Yeah, I think the first chorus maybe should just be that. Unless you're planning on like actually writing a chorus vocally for it or something. dude, this should be your chorus. Go and then a phrase, and that's the hook. The hook is the phrase. Nobody else. Maybe there's nobody else like you. Do. Is that what it is? Like, I think the chorus should be "There's no one else like you," and then at the end, "There's no one else like you." Do. That's all the chorus has to be. And then you could, if you want to do this, the second chorus to have this like string thing, I think the string should be up front more. They kind of sound like a background element. Thanks, Fred. Appreciate it. But I think you could still keep the it still should be going there. Hey, I think it's fucking fire. I think that. But I think that you should have the phrase, whether it's nobody else like you. Maybe that's too wordy, or the syllables don't really work out rhythmically. But I think if the starter thing was just the end of the hook, if it completed the line, nobody else like you do, that would be dope. I wish I had somebody in my life that I could write a song that says that. I mean, specifically like an intimate relationship, because I guess I do have people in my life like that. Okay, that's what I think. I think it's dope. I think with the structure swapped around a bit, it would be fucking way better. All right, we got Gangnam Style Remix. Still trying to figure out something about Second Drop. Let's hear it.
오빤 강남스타일 오빤 강남스타일 오빤 강남스타일
Is there any way to get these vocals cleaner? Because like in amongst the drop, I keep hearing the little chirps of like the MP3 kind of artifacts, and it makes the whole song kind of sound like it's got like MP3 artifacts. So is there any way to get like, I know that you probably had to use some dirty AI thing to fucking get the vocals off of it, but like, I don't know. I'd investigate.
오빤 강남스타일 Start.
What's a sty? Is that like when your tear duct gets inflamed or something? Is that what he's singing about?
Gangnam Style.
Yeah, I hear that too, Fred. I think it's fidgety. I think it's because it's got like the like the fucking the vibratey organ sound, and I think that should be further up in the mix. I think right now it's very bass heavy. I'd probably try to push that character a bit more in the bass synth because it's really cool. It's like it is kind of fidgety and funky and weird and wacky and other words that describe it accurately. But I think that I would lean into that a bit more, and maybe I don't know, maybe I feel like here's the thing. I think this is what I'm having a problem with this. That fucking sentence was terrible. I think this is why I'm having a problem with this. Is that I like the vocal for the fact that it's the vocal and for the fact that it's kind of needs to be there to be the remix. But the quality of the vocal is so poopy that it's just getting poop all over the rest of the mix, especially when you start putting reverb and delay, because now we don't just get one whoop, we get whoop, 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 bouncing around, getting poop more places. So I think that you have to either find a better acapella, or maybe this just shouldn't be a Gangnam Style remix unless it's like, you know, if you want to play it in your sets or like, I don't know. I think the track is cool enough that it could stand on its own, and you could maybe just make it a better song altogether if you didn't try to shoehorn in Gangnam Style. What's your feedback on song starts and how the second drop of the whole idea? I think I like the structure, but it did get a little iffy in this section right here because it's kind of unsure. It feels unsure of itself. It feels as though it's like, where are we going and when are we getting there? I mean, I could tell because I can see the waveform, but if I was purely listening to this, I'm not sure that I would have had a good idea as to where we were heading. And it's a good idea to, I think, to let the audience know, like, oh, something's going to happen, you know? And obviously when we get to like the build-up sections, we know where it's going to go because it's got a snare roll going or an effect rising. Like, why do we do that stuff? We do that stuff to let people know that shit's about to go down so that they can get their fucking dancing shoes warmed up or whatever. So in this breakdown section, I liked each of the sections. I thought they were pretty cool, but they did kind of like linger a little bit. And you can kind of see like, just like the amplitude, you can see it doing like a bit of a roller coaster thing. Let me listen to it one more time. But I don't think it's necessarily, the length of it or even the sections. I think it's maybe just how you're building up. Like, let's. It's not even that really. It's not even really, I don't know. It works. It works. I think it could have been a little bit more kind of like, what? You know, into the drop. I 50% agree with Rayham. I like the dubstep. I wouldn't have been upset if it dropped dubstep again, but there was some slight variation to make it even more dubsteppy or something like that. I don't know. I don't really necessarily have I don't have a problem with the arrangement, I don't think. Would it maybe be better to drop dubstep twice? Maybe. but I don't mind the way it drops now. I think the biggest problem is just that the audio of the vocal just is so poopy. I think that's really the biggest issue with this. And then what would this drop sound like if everything stayed the same, but you just did dubstep? Like you still kept the like the weird bass sound, but it just dropped half time instead, and then maybe at the end go full time. I don't know. I think ever since you've sent it in, it would work perfectly fine in a DJ set. And people would probably lose their mind to when it did this. Like it would fucking pop off on a dance floor for sure. So now it's just a matter of, okay, it works great in a DJ set. Is that all you really want it for? Or do you want it to be like a song that's on your Spotify that you're proud of 10 years from now? I will just stick to one drop and end it and move on. For the second drop, combine first drop with second drop. Yeah, I mean, like, again, where it's a Gangnam Style remix, you're gonna win in a DJ set. And I think that this was an excellent exercise in your dubstep production skills. But like maybe next time send in just an instrumental without the whoop whoop whoop. And see because maybe you could not use the Gangnam Style. Maybe you could use this if you DJ, or if you want to give it to your friends that DJ or something, you could use it as is. But you could still achieve the whoop, whoop, whoop with a different vocal. It doesn't have to be the Gangnam Style vocal, right? You could still get the cool, the same vibe. Because the reason why we like that isn't because it's fucking Gangnam Style. We just like the rhythm of it and how we just like the way it sounds. So it doesn't need to be a remix. I don't know. I know I'm giving you like a billion different directions, so I will stop now. But I really like this, and I think it would fucking if I still DJ'd, I'd play it. You could actually realistically get this released if you only get the ups and stars. Yeah, but also, is it worth it? Like, let me work it. Flip a thing down, flip it, then reverse it. Sorry, I had to say that. I don't know. Maybe try. Maybe just try getting rid of... Because here's the other cool thing, too, is when you're making remixes, sometimes you do all this stuff around this remix, and you're like, fuck, I kind of made like a sick track. I don't even know... And I've said this before about quite a few songs. Like, this is too cool to be a fucking remix. I should just take... Like, thank you, Gangnam Style, for getting me here, but I don't need you anymore. Goodbye, you know? And now let's record my own vocal or take something from a sample pack that's clearable. That sort of shit. Okay, that's what I think. Oh my, look at the master automation. Multifox Beat Boop. Oh, it's this one. Okay, let's have a listen. But if it's not remix, it's hard to reach numbers. Who gives a fuck about numbers? Like, seriously, this is an important thing, too. So you drop the remix, it gets 250,000 plays on Spotify. You earn $100 and everybody forgets you. Wouldn't you rather have a song that you're proud of and you build real fans that connect with you for real reasons rather than just like you're just following some trend or something like that? Believe me, I mean, I have some good numbers on Spotify, but that's not what I consider success. I consider a community of producers and people that I can work with and respect me, and I respect them. That's what I consider success. Because does 250K listens only get you 100? I don't know. I whip that number. Maybe it gets you 200. Maybe it gets you 500. Maybe at that point it's worth it. I don't know. But yeah, you got to ask yourself how do you define success? Because numbers is only one small thing, and people get all kinds of numbers for terrible reasons. It doesn't mean they're successful. Okay, let's listen. It kind of sounds like the bass is going bouldat. Okay, so far, I think I agree with the consensus in chat. I think that the high plickety bloop beep 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 things, I feel like that's kind of undermining the heaviness or the badassness or the aggressiveness of the rest of the track. The little plicky bloop beep. I don't know. I mean, to me, that's my least favorite part of the song is the little plicky plicks. So what were you trying to achieve with the plicky sounds again? What did you say? You said you wanted to do it's digital. I didn't quite catch it.
Sock it somewhere.
Yeah. To me those the plicky plicks, they just are the least badass part of the song. I would probably try to figure out something else to geometry dash derogatory. Oh fuck. So out of PC servers are the high thingy. Okay, interesting. I wonder if I think it's a combination of this. It's a combination of how tight the plicky plicks are, combined with like the room reverb / slapback delay, they just sound kind of like innocent or something. Like I don't know how to explain it, but there's just something. I don't think it's too loud. I think that's like a half measure. I think that, I don't know. If you love them, then they are correct. But for me, they just kind of feel a little too like, wahoo, beepy sounds, you know, like, and then the rest of the track is like heavy and aggressive, and maybe that's a contrast you're going for. So I don't want to make you double guess yourself if you like the way that they sound, but for me, they just kind of undermine it. The rest of it's pretty dope. Like, I mean, like, I don't really have any notes on like the mix or anything. Sounds like I'm picking a character in Mario Party. I hydrate so much before the stream, you have no idea. That's why I always have to pee halfway through. I don't know. I just think, I think maybe just try a couple. Maybe just mute them and see what it's like without them, first of all. And then if it feels like it's missing something in the higher register, maybe I would probably lean into the industrial side of this, where it's more, where maybe not so much like a straight up like sawtooth or square wave. Maybe that's more of like a found sound or some sort of twisted weird thing that you created, not using just like kind of the atomic waveforms, you know, like square wave, sawtooth, you know, unison, low pass filter. Those are kind of like the bread and butter of electronic music, but they're also kind of the atomic, the building blocks of things. And you can kind of sometimes put those aside and go and like for example, that stupid song that I made, Face Off, that was out on Don Diablo's label. I like half of the sounds was just me going "Duh" into a microphone and then fucking with it until it sounded like something that didn't sound that dumb. So I think that might be a good way to go about it, is try to understand what you're trying to get at, what you're trying to achieve with the plicky sound, and try to come up with a less straightforward way of achieving that sound rather than just a low pass pluck with a sawtooth or square wave or whatever. Okay, cool. That's what I think. But again, if you like the plicky sounds, then you can just tell us all to go fuck ourselves, and we will, because it's your music and whatever you think is right is right. Okay. Whoops, deleted it by accident. Let's listen to Lithy or Lith or Lithe 444. Oh, horror remix. Okay, like everything that's being played right now sounds pretty good, but I want more variety. And I know that this style of music, variety, isn't exactly a cornerstone, but I mean, like, I kind of at this point would like the drums to maybe drop out, and it maybe gets a little more intimate with the vocal and maybe the Reese kind of bass thing. But let's keep going. "19 people, wow. That's pretty good for... I literally do not promote this at all. It's kind of just a little thing that we do, but that's cool. It's always nice to see more people show up. Yeah, and they're doing a donut in slow motion, firing off fireworks. Yeah, see, like the fact that I'm clicking ahead is, I think, a good indication that there's just not enough variety. And I think that the vocals might be a little too soaked in reverb. That might be contributing to why they feel a little buried and hard to understand. But I understand the aesthetics and like the style of music that's kind of to be expected. But I think having a few moments, I think that's what this is missing. There's no real moments. There's like a moment right here. That was a moment. And then we're just vibing the rest of the time. And, you know, I don't think that there should be a moment every 8 bars. I don't think there should potentially maybe not even be a moment every 16 bars. But at some point, you got to break it up a bit and try to balance, like, maintaining the vibe and having moments. They're kind of, they're almost at odds with each other, because the more moments you have, the more you break up the vibe. But if you just hold the same vibe the whole time, then there's no, oh, fuck's sakes. But if you just hold the vibe the whole time, then there's no moments. So I think that you should try to sprinkle in a couple moments here. Break it down, take the drums out, bring it back up, bring the drums back in. That's 2 moments in one, really, when you think about it. You broke it down, that's a moment. You hit us with the drums again, that's another moment. So that's my only real, I think, thought on this, besides maybe dry the vocals out and bring them up in the mix just a little bit. But besides that, it's sick. I mean, like, it's a sick, you could definitely, when people say, oh, I could totally picture an E30, a BMW driving around doing a donut with like flares and stuff, that's because you've nailed that specific vibe. So you did a good job at that. But I just think there should be a little bit more moments. Okay. Easy peasy. Let's check this one out. Kanade Yoisaki. Forget to eat cup noodle today and ended up in, oh my Jesus, I cannot say that. Okay, so this is really nice. I think a couple things. The vocal sounds like it's... Oh, this is cheese. Interesting. Well, I was going to say the vocal sounds like it was recorded on a phone or something. Like it sounds like an M4A. It doesn't sound like a WAV file. So there's that. And then there's a couple little iffy, pitchy moments. Overall, the pitch is pretty close, but there's a couple little like overshoots. Like if he went from one note to the other, he went sharp and then brought it down again. There's a couple of those moments that probably, like for a demo, this is fine, but I would probably, yeah, I know. I was actually when you pointed it out that when somebody pointed out that it was cheese, I was like, oh wow, I didn't immediately know it was cheese. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I think that the issues with the vocals could be solved with a microphone that goes into an interface that's connected to the computer recording, at like a decent sample rate, even just 44, 16 wave, whatever. That would solve the issue with the top end sounding underwatery, like the artifacts of compression. And then just like practicing the vocal more so that you can nail the pitch and then use Melodyne or something to to give the last little finishing touches. Because, like, I've never worked with a singer that I've never had to Melodyne a little bit. So don't feel bad that you got to whip out the Melodyne. Everybody needs, because I guess there's a balancing thing. Sometimes you want you want a good performance, and you don't want the performance to suffer because of how rigidly they're trying to hit the pitch. So it's okay because you can fix the pitch, but you can't really fix the performance. So I would always err on the side of getting a good performance, even if there's a couple little pitch issues. Because pitch issues, as long as they're not like drastically terrible, you can usually sort them out. Stop. What was I? Oh no. Fuck. I gotta stop doing that. Yeah. And yes, using Melodyne as a sound design tool is cool. I do that all the time. I'm always afraid to tell a singer about pitch correction, which is okay. Yeah, I mean, like, sometimes some vocalists, they need to leave the room. And then sometimes they love it because they can see, it gives them feedback. It gives them information. Because when you use Melodyne, I've got my 10,000 hours of Melodyne in, believe me. So when I listen to somebody sing, like at a live show or something, I can almost just like picture the waveform of the pitch. But not everybody's like that. So when they're singing, they're like, why do I keep doing this thing? And then they can see the graph. Oh, when I go from this note to that note, I always overshoot it. And then I undershoot it and oscillate until I find the right. And that gives them some feedback that they can try to improve their pitch control. Anyway, that's all besides the point on this. I think that this is a cool song, and I think that Cheese has to get like an actual mic, because I can't say for sure, but it sounds like an M4A off of like a cell phone, or like basically a cell phone. You can really hear it in the top, like the high frequencies, like that kind of artifact from compression. But I think this is great because it's a melody. Cheese has created a melody and he sang it, which is even better. And I think too, if Cheese had a better mic and a better, it's not even really the mic, it's the compression that's happening on whatever he's recording it on, like an iPad or an iPhone or whatever. Voice. It sounds very voice notey. I think once he can get away from that and get to a full quality wave recording of his voice, then he'll probably feel more comfortable to push it up in the mix. Because that's a very common thing for people that are mixing their own vocals, especially if there's issues. They're not going to want to put it right up front. They're going to want to try to bury it in this nice bed of beautiful sounding synths and stuff, right? So, yes, Cheese, go get a mic and an interface. Just get just even a cheap mic, cheap interface, $100 all in. Some used thing from somebody. It's probably it's stained with tobacco smoke, whatever. Just get something and keep going, because you're doing good. Okay, moving on. This one's called Forgot to Make Kick Loud. Okay, that's a weird name. Where did you send it, Fred? Did you send it where you're supposed to send it, or did you like send it to me on WhatsApp or something? I grabbed it. I saw that you put it in the other production feedback thing, which is an understandable issue, but I've already got it. It's loaded.
It's time to get back.
So my feedback on this is pretty much the same that it's probably been sent. I think we've heard this maybe 3 times. It sounds sick. Like sound design, production is dope, but it just kind I saw somebody say bro is doing everything he can to not be repetitive. And I think to a detriment, and which has been my feedback the whole time, is that I just don't hear enough familiar things while I'm listening to it. I'm just constantly getting my brain punched, you know? And maybe that's okay. Maybe that's what this song should just be. And maybe you should finish it and move on. And maybe try next time to incorporate all of the amazing production in this song, but in a more structured or slightly more predictable way with more familiar repeating elements or motifs or themes or melodies in the next song. I'm not saying, because like, maybe this song is just pure chaos with a beat, and maybe that's okay. But that is kind of what it is. It's kind of pure chaos with a beat. That was too loud. These sounds. I'm sweating inside of my ears thinking about hearing that at a club. Yeah, me too, Fred, and I always get made fun of it. All my friends always make fun of me because I either wear earplugs or I forget, and then I just cram toilet paper in my ears.
Time to get
I said protect ya puppies? I don't remember saying that. That's fucking disgusting sounding. I feel like those parts earlier would remove the tweeters like automatically. Yeah, I agree that there are some repeating elements, which I think I pointed out last stream, the bum 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 bum, whatever, the like that part that happens, that's cool. And I like those parts the best because I'm like, oh, here comes the part that goes da da da, like I know it, and I'm singing along almost in my head because I know it. And I think maybe that's why it's important to have repetitious things in your songs, is that so it feels more like a communal activity. I'm not just having this song played at me, I'm playing along with it in my head as like a communal thing. And that's kind of what I'm missing for the rest of the track, is that I'm just constantly, it's like somebody's like yelling. It's not a conversation. It's like somebody's talking at me because I'm constantly receiving new information that I don't expect or that I don't understand, you know? But again, don't get me wrong, the sound design and production and shit is, I mean, it's really good. It's very cool. There's a lot of very cool stuff. And maybe, like I said, this should just be chaos with a beat, and that's the idea. But I think to connect with more people and to have a more I think that's it. I think just to connect on a deeper level with people, you have to have motifs and repetition and call and response. There has to be something that the listener can feel like they're taking part in, as opposed to just being blasted at them. So take that with a grain of salt. This is a dope piece of production. There's a couple elements in there that I would consider good songwriting. The da da da. Because it repeats, there's a call and there's a response. Those are the songwriting elements. But when we have a 4 to the floor beat going and a bunch of zip zaps and crazy wacky chaos stuff happening the whole time, that's not really adhering to a strong songwriting structure. So take it with a grain of salt, do what you want. I think it sounds sick, but I think the song is missing the song a little bit. Okay. This one's called Flash Gordo Sketch 3, which is a cool name, I guess. Okay, so I like it so far. That effect that you had was a bit on the loud side. That's a bit aggressive, but I like what it's doing. I think the pacing's a little slow so far. There's not enough new elements happening. Like I was starting to get I don't know if bored is the right word, but I was starting to get to the point where I'm like, hey, I'm ready for the next part. Like I'm done with this part, sort of thing. Okay, before we listen to that, hold on. I would take this right here and I would get rid of everything that isn't these little chops, because you still kind of have like a background layer, and I would make it more like choppy, like okay, this part is sick, but I feel like it's missing sub bass. I feel like your bass is up an octave, or hear how when I solo the sub range, it just kind of sounds like rumblings. I think what it needs is I think you should recreate the bottom end. I feel like there's a lot of bottom end coming from other things in the mix, and I think you should do sub bass separation and like handcraft the bottom end. Dun 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 dun. So it's more solid and predictable and less kind of, you know. I like the lead sound. It reminds me of something that Trent Reznor would make. You whip out the Soviet era synthesizer and you open it up and it's not even electronics. It's like fucking steampunk or something. You have to like feed it coal. Yeah, I think there's a really cool idea in here. It reminds me of, and Rayham, remember the OK thing that I made? It was called like OK, and it was very heavy and distorted and messy, and I was scared to cut into it to replace the bottom end with something a bit more controlled because I thought it would lose some of the magic. But when I did it. It took me a minute to do it. I had to go and cut out a bunch of low-end shit that was coming from all kinds of sounds that I put in it. But when I finally went through and replaced the bottom end with something a bit more... I mean, I guess I could just fucking... Hold on. It's in this folder. I think this one might... I think this... Is this the old one? I don't know if that's the old one. This is... No, I think that's the new one because that one has solid bottom end. Show the Jersey drop. I don't even remember. Oh. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have the old one anymore, but the old one I didn't have. I don't think there was any synthesizers used at all. It was all just cut up like my vocals and like weird percussion sounds that were tuned all crazy and shit. And that's what this reminded me of because the bottom end is just kind of like made up of all of what sounds like the samples and shit and whatever is being used in this. They're not dedicated bass sounds. There's just bass that happened to be in the sounds. And what I did was I went and I removed all of that and then I replaced it with something that was a more solid sub bass. So anyway, I feel like this is pretty early on in the demo stage and it's sick already. I just think you got to keep going and maybe the next stop on the journey is to figure out the bottom end and make it a bit more sustained notes of bass so that we can be like, ah, yes, C sharp. 10 hours in? Okay, that's a decent amount. You want to see how many hours into the fucking feedback stream we are? 1,825 hours and 18 minutes is how long we've been in the feedback stream. Anyway, cool. Okay, keep going. Feel free to send it when you do more work to it. Okay, next we got drop pop peaking. Everything is sick except the snare. Just when you didn't think the snare could get worse. Oh, I clicked the footnote. I don't even know what that means. Yeah, I think it's sick, dude. I just really don't like those snares.
Alone in the blue.
Which means I liked the second drop better because it didn't have the snares.
I may grow tender, walking alone in the blue cool of evening through some garden, fresh with flowers after the benediction of the raven.
I don't love the synth in the intro and in this section. I'm not sure what it is. I think maybe it's a bit too cut and dry basic and the glide thing isn't really helping it not sound cheesy or something. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't know. It could be a taste thing, but to me it sounds just a little too like silly, or it sounds a bit silly for like the vibe of the track. I mean, like, yeah, I think the snare, I think it's just like a matter of switching out the snares. The thing about the synth, maybe that's a taste thing. Cause I mean, the track is a little silly. Like I get it. It's a lighthearted, heavy track for sure. But the snare just kind of sounds like you're hitting a cardboard box with another smaller cardboard box. But the sound design's dope, and the mix and master's great. I think it's really just like try some different snares. I like the old school breakbeat sections. I like a lot of it. I just don't like the snares, and I'm a little iffy on the intro bass. But it's sick. It's the production on it's good, except the snares. All right. I'm going to stop beating off a dead horse. This one's called River. CRU not mixed. Okay, so this is really cool. I like this. It's got kind of a camel fat kind of vibe. I dig it. I think it's mostly, I think the mix is pretty good, except the kick drum is so loud in that transient, like it's probably like maybe like 5 kilohertz or something like that. If I go, let's just undo the shit that I did when I was fucking around. I think it's going to be challenging to master with. Like somewhere between 3,500, like 3 and 4,000. Well, you say it's not mixed at all. That's not true. I mean, it's not that far off. The kick drum is very loud. You don't have to preface it with it's not mixed to try to preface it with like lower my expectations. I think that it's really a matter of the kick drum. Yeah, it's like 30, it's like right here. And well, first of all, I think the kick could come down a bit, but it's mostly this frequency range in the kick that's going to really limit how hard you can push the master.
Want the truth.
Well, I mean, just because you haven't, I guess, just because you haven't formally sat down and been like, all right, time to mix this, moving faders. Yeah, let's do some fader moving. You know, like that doesn't mean it's way out of whack. It's not way out of whack. It's not that bad for not being mixed. You know what I mean? But the way that I look at mixing is I'm trying to do my best so that the mastering doesn't have to do as much. So I'm looking at things like, this is cool, baby. This is cool, baby. This is cool, baby. This is cool, cool. I mean, like, obviously, I guess you kind of take for granted mixing in terms of like, oh, are the vocals too loud? Are they not loud enough? But that kind of just, when you put the vocal in, you're usually just like, oh, it needs to go up or down. And then when it comes time to master, and you start trying to squeeze as much volume out of the track as you can, that's when the mix really starts to show itself. And that's when the mix starts to matter, because you're going to run into a bottleneck, or like, you know, the kick drum right now is your bottleneck for getting this loud. Yeah, it's just the transient on the kick drum is just overpowering everything else. Like, another trick too is if you take the mix and you just turn the whole mix way down. You can really hear the things that are too loud start to peek through. Is the second drop just copy pasted right now? Because like this style of music doesn't need drastically different drops. To me, this sounds pretty good. Like, I think, sure, if you're going to give it to your friend to mix it, he's going to he's going to sit down for about 3 or 4 minutes and probably be done. You know, like I like a new kick. I agree that a new kick might help. This kick is just so focused in on the so maybe audition a couple other kicks. If you were a little on the fence about the kick drums, maybe just try a few different kick drums and see. But overall, I mean, I think it sounds pretty good. Of course, it doesn't sound mastered. That's why I was trying to just give it a little bit of love here. but you can really hear. So if you focus right on that frequency. That's what I'm trying to point out. Besides that, I think it's sick. The only other thing I was kind of thinking of, you kind of have almost a call and response in your drops, where you have and the da-na-na-na has nice thick bass, but the doesn't really. It's kind of a little thin, like when it first drops.
Show me underneath your skin. Tell me what you're feeling now. Can't love you if I don't know how. Yes, I hear your words.
Yeah, the da-na-na-na. But then it thins right out in between. I wonder if it would be better to have a sustained sub bass, or if it's not sustained, if it's going da 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 da, like the 16th note, or da 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 1 2 3 4 1 2, yeah, 16th note thing. If those notes weren't so short, because I think this is probably a bass right here. Yeah, it is. So if the sub bass was okay, what's the tempo? Like 125 or something? 130, oh, okay. Okay. Where's the downbeat? So you kind of have like sub bass here, but then you don't have any in the middle. So I don't know. Okay, I'll try. I'm just real roughing it. So it's just this. It's this section right here. So I'll just go back to my handy dandy 3 oscillator. I understand it could be a style choice. That's why I didn't really mention it the first time. But then the more I was listening to it, I'm like, what would it be like if it still had the same vibe, but also had bass? What key is it? C sharp. Okay. Why are you doing a coordinated hydrate attack? It's tough. C sharp's quite low. It's not too low though. We can still work with that. Get the fuck out of here. Let's try. Yeah, there we go. So I literally just did a triangle wave playing a C sharp. This is it. And then this is what it sounds like with it, with no mixing. And maybe C sharp isn't the right note because you're kind of doing like a bend down. So maybe there's a different note there, but even just having and you could cut it up. So I could also cut it like this into 16th notes. And then I could go in here and maybe change this to a square wave and low pass it. And it's probably going to be, I would probably do something more like a da-da-da, because every time you start a new note, it's going to add like a rumble, right? Let's go back here. And I mean, I'm not using the world's greatest bass synth here, but it'll do. So now we kind of maintain the rhythm, or like the That's actually pretty sick, because it's like it's still got the groove. It's not just solid sub bass. So to me that's better. And then if you had like a juicier kick that had a bit more body to it and was less, your kick is almost like all transient, right? Like it's just a little too like and not enough. So if we, I'm already in kicks. Black Octopus would probably be a good one for this. A, B. I don't know, this one's a bit, how am I going to ever fucking do this? Oh, God. Let's sidechain your track, kinda. I don't know, this is probably not going to work, but we'll try it anyway. We've come this far. Okay. And then we'll just stretch this out and there. Okay. And now let's just try a couple different kicks. I know I'm missing like the clap because I'm side chaining it out. There's really no good way of me doing this, but maybe this gives you ideas. It's techno, yeah. Well, it's techno because there's really no way for me to not make it techno in this method. I mean, I guess I could go and put a clap in. It does hit a little too hard, but what if I just don't sidechain and let's try this. I got it. I figured it out. We're not going to sidechain, and we're going to low pass my kick drum. This is so... I low passed your song by accident. Okay, we're going to low pass the kick drum this time. Because I just want to see what it sounds like with a little bit more meat on the bones, you know, with the kick. Okay, so now let's just do this. Let's do a comparison. We'll do one pass with my shit and then one pass with just yours as it is, the same pass. And let's see what the difference is. I don't know. I mean, obviously me trying to bastardize your audio waveform with what I've got in here is not going to work perfectly, but I think if anything, the sub bass in the middle there, that little da 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 thing is, I think that's a pretty solid improvement. So I'd at least give that a shot. Okay, cool. Thank you for sending. I'm going to make sure I'm not breaking the next song with my ozone shit. It appears as though we are all good. Okay, let's listen to the next. I think we got a couple more. Stay with me. Stay with me. Okay, the delay on the kick drum is a little off-putting. A doubler kick? What does a doubler kick? To me it sounds like a metronome that's been left on and the track is slightly out of beat with it.
just one chance. Just try to dodge that while they are here. Stay with me.
I mean, like, I like the track, and maybe this is one of those, like, genre-specific things or style-specific things. Like, for example, when Sawyer sends in his crazy hardstyle shit. Like, I'm not gonna tell him to remove the distortion off of his kick drum. That's the point of it. But to me, I personally don't like the kick thing. It's my style to have that kick in my tracks. Okay. That's a tough one because I feel like I don't agree with it. I don't like it. I think that the vast majority of people would also think that it's not correct. But if it is what you love, then it is correct. But yeah, okay. Because it's kind of just like from like a purely not even artistic point of view, but from a technical point of view, I'm hearing it more on the right side because of the slapback timing. So it's kind of just distracting my right ear. I like the track. I mean, I like the song. I like the vocals. We don't need to focus 100% on the kick drum effect because, you know, like, if that's what you like, then go for it. I think that, like I said, the vast majority of people would dislike it. But that's not a reason to not do something unless that matters to you. But we can just put a pin in that because I don't think there's anything left to say about it. I think the mix sounds good. I think the effects are a bit... I feel like there's at no point in this song is there not an effect either swelling up or swelling down. And I feel like it might be using the same effects every time. Yeah, so to me, I think you have one uplifter and you have one downlifter, and we're either at any point in the song, we're either uplifting with the single uplifter, and okay, maybe it's a layer, maybe there's 4 uplifters, but it's always the same stack of layers. It always sounds the same to the end user, to the end listener. So I think that that's something that you should maybe be more cognizant of, is that it makes the track feel a bit... I don't know what the correct way of saying this is. It's maybe not low effort, but the effects all of a sudden just kind of seem like a checkbox that was checked off. We have uplifters, we have downlifters. There's no creativity per se in them when you keep using the same ones over and over again, and they are just kind of like they're always either going up or going down. It's just very kind of copy and paste, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to be overly harsh. I mean, I think the song is good. I think the chords and the synth and the vocals, they sound good together, but the effects and the production have some things that bother me. You know, we won't mention the kick anymore because you know that we don't like it. That's fine. But the effects, I mean, like, if you listen to some other tracks that you really like from artists that you really respect, and then you analyze the way they use effects, you'll notice that there's very rarely the exact same effect happening throughout the track. They might have, maybe they have like a kind of a workhorse uplifter that's like a noise, like a white noise kind of swell. And then, oh my God, Ray. Yeah, he's not the most subtle person. Anyway, so they might have like a steady, like every time they're building up to the drop, they have this white noise lifter, but they're mixing it with different effects and they're pitching them up or pitching them down or swelling them with reverb and then cutting the reverb hard, or the delay is getting crazy and the delay time shortening so the pitch is going up. Like there's creativity put into the effects. So I think that you need to put a little bit more effort into making the effects tell a better story, and not just so that you can check off that there's like an uplifter going towards this part and then a downlifter coming off of that part. You need to treat the effects like a creative process. And I'm not saying that you don't treat it like a creative process, but I think to try and be a little bit more interesting with the effects and try to experiment more and maybe don't use a sample, try to use a synth, make an effect out of a synth, or spray a garden hose and record it and then pitch it up slowly and try to see what that sounds like. That's like the type of creativity that gets you interesting, unique sounds. Besides that, I think the track is just a little bit too basic, like in terms of what you have. Okay, so you have the kick and the drums. You have the drums that kind of No. Just because it's all samples doesn't mean it's basic. That's not what I meant by that. I mean, you kind of come in with a drum beat, right? And the drum beat doesn't really change. I mean, you might like add in a hi-hat, or I'm not saying it doesn't change at all, but for all intents and purposes, it didn't really change. You just brought in a drum beat and you just rocked that drum beat for the whole time, right? It never went away. Maybe the kick dropped out during a breakdown section or something. I didn't memorize it, but to me, it feels like we have one drum beat that goes. We have one sax thing, which is cool. I like the sax thing. We have one bass line, and they don't really change a whole lot, right? So that's where the more creativity part of it comes into. And that's why I don't know what this project looks like. And just because a project has a lot of elements in it doesn't mean it's good automatically. But if you look at some of the projects of the tracks that you may enjoy or respect, you'll probably find that there's more layers and more things evolving and changing and giving spotlights being put on specific parts of the song. Like at no point did we Honestly, I think getting rid of some of the effects is probably going to help too. Because if you think about it, right now this is kind of like there's a bit of an intimate moment happening with the low passing and the vocals, but then we just have this like big epic effect thing happening, and it's kind of covering up this potentially intimate moment that's happening with the low pass and the vocals. So I think variety is probably something that you should try to build a bit more into. Figure out how you can change things to tell the story from start to finish, as opposed to just like, this drum beat's going, let's keep it going. And I know it did drop out here. But like, imagine if it built up and it just went to like the kick drum, maybe a low pass bass, and like the vocal for maybe 10, 15 seconds or X amount of bars. And you really spotlight, you stripped it all back and you're like, here's the vocal, check out this vocal. And then there's some like atmospheric stuff happening. And then the drums drop out, and then there's a drum fill, and then it comes back in with like, you're fading in the sax thing, and maybe the sax thing now has the spotlight on it as there's like build up drums building and getting us excited. And then pride a snare, there, and then it comes in with the drop, and instead of big effects, it swells up as if there's going to be big effects, but then there's just a white noise blast on a single quarter note that goes away when the clap hits, and now we're into like a cool hi-hat 16th note shuffly thing with an interesting groove and a cut up version of the vocal. These are all just random ideas I'm coming off of the top of my head, but this is the type of shit that I would do to take this from an interesting like idea to an actual song, because you can also tell, I mean, it's 2.5 minutes long, and that's because there's really, I mean, sure, there's some great 2.5 minute songs out there, but you just kind of like built it up, dropped with the vocals, broke down with the vocals, dropped with the vocals, outro. So I hope that this is inspiring and not what's the other word? What's the opposite of inspiring? Uninspiring. Because I think you've got a good musical head on your shoulders. I just think that to me, I think this is the first time you've ever submitted anything. To me, you're like, okay, I've got this thing, good. And now I've got this thing, good. And now I've got this section, good. And now I've got this section with this thing in it again, good. Like it to me, the creative process needs to be elaborated on a little bit more. So try that, and feel free to submit next week. Okay, last couple. Amp 6 Data. I want to say Data Gale because that would be way funner to say. Dude, when I read track with the cue, it startled me physically for some reason. I like what's going on here, but like you gotta fix this harshness in the high mids. Like there's a lot of okay, I like the sound design on this. This is pretty cool, but where's the kick drum? So yeah, I think the kick drum is absolutely buried, but I think also this drop section just kind of happened unexcitingly. Unfortunately, you are too late for this week, but hit us up next week and we'll get you in. Yeah, to me, this drop section just kind of happened without fanfare. I think that you should probably get us more excited and then drop harder, because there's a lot of really cool sound design shit going on here, but I was just like, and I guess we're in the drop. Here we go. Where's the kick drum? Those are my exact thoughts in chronological order. What's one plug-in thing you use while mixing that doesn't require much tweaking and can make the track better, like some glue? Oh God, I wish I had an answer for that. It's really about you, not about the tool. I mean, for example, as you guys know, I haven't released any music in years, but I've recently at home been making some music. And I've been making music with nothing but my sample library and basically the stuff that comes with FL Studio. Like the FL Studio plugins, and that's it. And I'm making some pretty good stuff. And even technical wise, I mean, like I like Ozone. I like Ozone in the master because I guess Ozone would be my best answer for your question. Because with EQ and multi-band compression and a limiter, you're pretty much set for the mastering, in my opinion. But it's not about, you could sit me down in front of any software with any samples and any tools, and I'd still be able to make something sound half decent, because I understand the fundamentals. And all of those fancy fucking soothe tools and this and that, all the fancy tools that everybody's talking about, they're just built on fundamentals. They're built on, I mean, some of them are complicated, whereas they use the FFT stuff to separate it into harmonics and then affect them, do black magic stuff. But like for the most part, it's like EQ, compression, distortion. Like there's very fundamental blocks. And if you understand how to use those fundamental blocks, then you don't need somebody else to piece a bunch of fundamental blocks together and give it to you, which is basically what fancy plugins are. You use the fundamental blocks. Do you have an EQ? Can I high pass this somehow? I know that's not really a great answer, but Ozone in the master bus. I feel like in this section, the bass with all of the on top of it, like the noise, is maybe unnecessary. The bass sounds like it didn't get the memo that the track chilled out for this section. The bass sounds like it's still trying to go hard while the rest of the track's kind of vibing a little bit. Yeah, I think that this would be better as a vibey section, and everything should be vibing. It kind of sounds like emo, like electronic version of emo music. Again, like the kick's not loud enough. Megatron. Okay, so I think what I would like to challenge you to do, and I think I might have challenged you to do this before, and I'm not saying that I guess I'll say it and then I'll preface it afterwards, which is not preface, it would be afterus. But anyway, make a track that doesn't use any of these sounds just to see. Because it's not a bad thing that this is like your style and your sound, but I'd like you to expand so that you can still use this stuff and it can still be your sound. But I want you to expand your palette a little bit, because I feel like there's one thing is to have your sound and to have the sounds that you like to use. That was last track, unfortunately. I don't remember what the last track was. Maybe that's a good sign. I'm just saying as an experiment. I'm not saying this is a prerequisite for you to succeed as a musician and to be happy with the music you make. I'm just saying, I wonder, every single method that you used here, if you were forced to not use it, what would you come up with? And then, if you were then allowed to use these methods again in the next track or whatever, then what kind of ratio would you use of this versus these new things that you've developed and you've been forced to learn? Because I think that you have such a unique sound, and it's always very obvious that it's you, that you could make stuff that doesn't have this style of sound in it, and it still would sound like you. And you can always use this stuff, but if you're forced to not use it for a period of time, then you may develop some adjacent sounds that would blend nicely with these and give you a bigger palette of sounds to work with. That's my suggestion. From a technical point of view, that was hard to say. Yeah, the kick's not loud enough, and I think that vibey section, the bass should vibe with the other sounds a bit more. But yeah, like, don't use that snare or any of those snares. Don't use the delayed out dotted eighth note, whatever that's called, whatever that synth is. Don't use that, and other. I think those are kind of like the two. Yeah, you got the Tony snare. No Tony snare. No boodly doodly 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 boodly doodly doodly, and maybe that's it. Maybe that's all that you're not allowed to use. Oh wait, you do use the phasey kind of Reese bass, neuro bass thing. Okay, here's the thing. Maybe you can still use the Reese neuro bass, but you have to use it in a different synth. Maybe that's a better way of doing it. Whatever synth you use to make these sounds, you're just not allowed to use that specific synth. You can still try to make those sounds, but you just can't use the same synth. I don't know. I like to challenge myself with things like this, and I think that it's a healthy thing, because what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to learn to do something different, maybe. I guess the worst thing that's going to happen is you're not going to learn to do something, or maybe you load up a plugin, it's got a virus in it. It forces your GPU to run at 100% full throttle the entire time, which causes your laptop to catch on fire when you're asleep and it burns your house down with you in it. That would probably be the worst case scenario, but I really don't think that's going to happen. Okay, let's check out the last one of the day. This one is, why? There we go. This one's called Max by Fred, by Moy. Here we go. Yeah, it was pretty dope, dude. Did you say you made it for your dog Max? Is that what you said? I missed the message. I just saw the bottom of it. I think that the chords are very much like really nice. I'm trying to think of the best word to describe them besides like uplifting. I love them. I love the chords. They're great. I do wonder about the sub bass. I wonder about the octave. I'm sure that maybe it's just because of the key of the song that some of the chords that you're lingering on, are in an awkward, like A sharp, B, G sharp, A sharp, B, like in that kind of like range where you're like, oh, this is too high, but I can't go down another octave. So maybe that's the challenge, but I do feel like the sub bass, a lot of the time I feel like the bass is hanging up an octave too high. So maybe, I know it's maybe a pain in the ass, but maybe shifting the key, because I think it's in D, but it's just the chord structure makes it so that even though it's in the key of D, which should be nice for bass music, it's never quite hanging out at D very long. It's always hanging out in like the other chords that are in the D major scale. So I wonder if maybe just and I mean you could even just do it this way, like fucking take it in Ableton and just pitch shift it and see like what's it like. It's not going to sound great, but like let's go down 4 semitones. I'm gonna have to re-record bass, but that's about it. Not big problem. Oh, sick. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, like sometimes I have to do this where I've found myself in this situation quite a few times where I'm looking at the MIDI roll and I'm like, fuck, I wrote this in D sharp, but because of the chords, most of the time I'm sitting at A sharp or whatever, some 1, 2, 3, 4 chord or whatever. Most of the time I'm spending not at the root of, not on the tonic. I'm spending at some other chord. So maybe I should sacrifice the key of the song. So now maybe I put the key of the song down to B. Ooh, but 90% of the song I'm not playing the B, and now I'm playing a F or whatever the difference is. You know what I'm trying to say, right? So if you got to re-record the bass, it might be better to do what I just did, or just look at your MIDI notes, because you can usually tell anywhere from C sharp to like F sharp is it's good bass. It's girthy, right? So if you look and you're like, well, statistically speaking, 75% of my notes are in this range, then you can, pick a different key. It's not necessarily like it's not necessarily killing the song or anything, but it was kind of on my mind where I'm like, I kind of want that bass to go down, but I'm sure it probably can't, or else Fred would have put it down. The other thing too is like, are you planning on putting a melody? I do think that there's room, especially here. Try key change. Unless you have like a specific reason to, I do want to add a melody. Okay, yeah. I think this is just like it's so melodic already, right? We're all filled up for today. We're just finishing up today. I've been streaming for 3 hours, so I do about 3 hours every Friday. But you can hop on the Discord server. The link is at the bottom, and you can submit for next week. Yeah, I think that's really. I don't know. I think maybe changing the key just to see what it will be if you change the key to the key of C or D or E. Anyway, yeah, it's sick though. I really like it. Production wise, mix, everything. I don't really have any issues. It was just really the lack of melody and the fact that the bass was lingering on not deep notes for long periods of time, which gave the track a bit of a missing bottom end during certain sections of time where you're like chilling out on, I'm assuming it was probably like an A sharp or something like that. Okay, cool. That's triumphant. That's the fucking word I was trying to think of. Remember, I was like, what's the word? It's like uplifting, but it's not uplifting. It's triumphant. It does sound very triumphant. It sounds victorious. It sounds like victorious, but not in a way that you had to hurt somebody to get that victory. It's not like there was a conflict and you won by killing the other person. It sounds like you won by coming to an agreement with your enemy. And both of you were victors. It was a win-win. Max was a king. Well, I think you did him good. I think this track is beautiful. Try try changing the key and adding a melody, and I think it'll be even more beautifuler. All right, I'm gonna go have some food with my friend. I will see you guys next week. Thank you for hanging out. I love you all. And okay, bye. That's it. Bye. Turning off the microphone now.